What's up, guys? My name's Nick, coming to you from Last Mile NYC, and I'm gonna show you how to change some brake pads on Super73. All right, guys, what you're gonna need for this job is obviously you're gonna need brake pads, all right? What you're also gonna need is Allen keys, 5mm Allen key, all right? You're gonna need some cable snips just to get everything open, and then you're gonna need a flathead screwdriver. I'll show you what that's for. We're also gonna need some alcohol just to clean everything off. But other than that, that's all we need. All right, guys, so we're on the rear brake caliper right here. What we're gonna need to do is get this caliper off. We're just gonna get these two 5mm bolts out right here. Super simple. What you need to be careful with is make sure, obviously the tool's all the way in there. You don't wanna strip anything here. You don't wanna damage these bolts or the bracket itself. So we just get these two bolts out. And put these wherever. So these brake pads, you can see the pistons are popping out right here. The most important thing that we need to do is make sure that these pistons get reset. Sometimes when they're super bald and super worn down, you're gonna get, these pistons are gonna be popping out super far. So all we need to do is get that flathead that I said earlier, and we just need to get this in here and basically reset these pistons. Sometimes they go in super easy, sometimes they're a little bit of a pain and you might have to use a little bit of force. But I usually just use like a twisting motion when you get them in there, and you can see these pistons start to go back in where they're supposed to be. All right, guys, now when we have those pistons reset right there, what we're gonna need to do is we're gonna need to get this through bolt out. So it's basically just a 3mm Allen key, and it just threads right out. So we're gonna unscrew this. Get this bolt out, and then when you get that bolt out, you can just push from the top right here and push these brake pads out. Once these old brake pads are out, what I like to do is just take some of that rubbing alcohol from earlier, get a normal microfiber towel, and just clean this thing up. You don't have to go too crazy with it, just get some of that gunk off, all the stuff from the street. Then what we're gonna do is we're going to grab our new brake pads. Side note, pro tip, when this stuff is out like this, do not grab your brake lever, because if you do, these pistons will pop out. You'll get brake fluid everywhere and it's a nightmare. So just be mindful when this is open like this to not have yourself or anybody else grab your brake lever. We got our new pads right here. What we're gonna do is, best way to do it, squeeze them from the top and put them in from the top. So we're gonna put them in here, we're gonna squeeze them, compress them a little bit, and slide them right in. When you slide them right in, you re-get your pin from before, put that thing back in there, and then just thread it back in with your 3mm Allen key. All right, guys, just to explain how these brake pads work for somebody who's kind of curious about how it does it, these basically have two pads themselves and there's a spring on the inside, all right? So basically what this does is it sits inside your caliper. Whenever time you press your lever, those pistons pop out and it compresses your brake, and that's what stops you, right? Over time, these pads just get worn out and they start to just get worn every time you hit your brakes. So over time, you'll get either scraping noises or you'll get like metal on metal sounds, something like that, that will be pretty obvious that you need to change your pads. Or if you're on your brake lever and it's super squishy and it's getting down in the handlebars, that's pretty good sign that you're gonna need new pads, right? These don't look terrible, but they're pretty worn from just riding around New York City. All right, guys, now that we got these new pads in here, everything's good to go. Pistons are back in where they're supposed to go. And all you need to do is just put this back over your rotor, line up these two holes right here, and reinstall your original 5mm bolts. Now the tricky part is getting this thing lined up. A lot of people have different ways of doing it. All I like to do is just look directly through the brake caliper and just make sure that it's not touching your rotor at all. All right guys, so we have these new pads in the back. All we're gonna do is run it a little bit, slam on the brakes, run it a little bit, slam on the brakes. If your pads are a little more worn than these were, you're gonna feel the difference in the actual pull of the lever. It's not gonna be as close to the handlebars, which is gonna be the good thing. But yeah, everything in the back looks good right now. All right guys, that's it. Super simple, how to change your brake pads on a Super 73. If you guys have any questions, reach out to us. More than happy to help you out. Peace.